Hey everyone, getting ready for a first date, or maybe you just want to, really nail those first conversations when you meet someone new.
Mm,
We're going to do a deep dive today into how to make those initial interactions really count.
yeah,
Because let's face it, a good conversation can really be the spark that ignites a connection.
absolutely.
It's so true.
And what's fascinating about these early encounters is that it goes beyond just filling the silence.
Right.
You're actually creating a space
hmm
where you can genuinely connect, you can kind of assess compatibility
Yeah.
and get a glimpse into someone's soul.
Oh, I love that.
But to do that,
Yeah.
we need to kind of understand the dynamics at play,
Got it.
the psychology of what makes some conversations just flow while others just fizzle out.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
Because I know all of us have experienced both sides of that coin.
Right.
Conversations that leave you feeling energized and connected,
Absolutely.
and others that, well, you'd rather forget ever happened.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So what's the secret sauce here?
It's a mix of art and science.
Mm,
You need a good set of tools,
okay,
those conversation starters to get things moving,
right.
but you also need to understand the why behind them.
Okay,
For example, one of our sources suggests asking, what's your go-to way to relax after a long day?
okay.
And on the surface, it seems pretty simple, but think about what you're actually tapping into here.
Yeah,
It's not just about how someone spends their free time.
right.
It actually reveals their core values and priorities.
That's so true.
Right.
So if someone says oh, I love to unwind with a good book,
Yeah.
that to me suggests they value introspection and quiet time.
Yeah.
While someone who heads straight to the gym after work, you know, prioritizes physical health and stress relief,
Exact.
it's like a little window into
Yeah.
their inner world.
Precisely. And by understanding that deeper layer,
Yeah.
you can tailor your conversation to connect on a more meaningful level.
Right.
And, it's not just about finding common ground. It's about appreciating those differences
Yeah.
and seeing how they complement each other.
Okay, so it's not just about having the list of questions,
Yeah.
but also being present, listening actively, and really understanding the meaning behind their answers.
Absolutely. Now, another conversation starter that consistently ranks high is, have you traveled anywhere interesting recently?
Oh, that's a good one.
Travel stories are so powerful because they often evoke positive emotions and a
Yeah.
sense of adventure.
Right.
But even more importantly, they can reveal shared interests and values.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Like if you both light up when you're talking about exploring new cultures,
Right.
or if you both have a passion for hiking in remote locations,
Exactly.
it creates that instant bond, like
Yeah.
a sense of we get each other.
Precisely. It's not about ticking off destinations on a map.
Right.
It's about sharing those experiences that have shaped you
Yeah.
and connecting with someone who appreciates those same things.
Yeah.
And even if you haven't traveled recently, you can always adapt the question,
Oh, yeah.
ask about dream destinations
Yeah.
or memorable trips from the past.
Mm,
Everyone has a travel story to tell.
that's true.
Even if it's about, that hilarious road trip gone wrong
Right.
or a childhood vacation that left a lasting impression.
Right.
It's about finding those universal experiences that connect us,
Mm,
even if the specifics are different.
I like that. Now,
Yeah.
shifting gears a bit,
Yeah.
one of the sources we dug into highlighted a question that goes a little deeper.
Right.
What's something you're really passionate about?
Oh, yeah.
I love this one.
It's a fantastic way to see someone's enthusiasm and energy come alive.
Yes.
When you talk about something you're truly passionate about,
Yeah,
there's an authenticity that shines through.
I agree.
It reveals what motivates them, what drives them, what brings them joy.
Like you're giving them permission
Yeah,
to be their most genuine selves,
exactly.
which is a beautiful thing to witness, especially on a first date.
Especially on a first date.
And plus, you never know.
Yeah.
You might discover a shared passion
Right?
that you could bond over,
Exactly.
whether it's a love for art, a
Yeah.
commitment to social justice,
Mm,
or even like a quirky hobby you never knew existed.
so true. Speaking of shared experiences,
Okay.
one of our sources, a behavioral psychologist,
Hmm.
actually emphasized the power of food-related conversation starters.
Okay.
They suggested asking, what's the best meal you've ever had?
Okay.
Now, on the surface,
Yeah.
this might seem like a simple icebreaker,
Right.
but it goes much deeper than that.
Okay. I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Well, think about it.
Yeah.
Food memories are often incredibly vivid and emotionally charged.
Mm-hmm.
They're tied to specific places, people, and moments in time.
Right.
So by asking about someone's best meal,
Yeah.
you're not just asking about their culinary preferences,
Right.
you're inviting them to share a treasured memory, a moment of pure sensory delight.
Yeah, it's like you're opening a door to a happy memory. And who doesn't love to relive those? It's also a subtle way to kind of gauge their personality.
Right.
Do they describe the meal in detail, savoring each flavor?
Yeah.
Do they talk about the company, the atmosphere? Their answer can reveal so much about what they value in an experience.
Exactly. And it creates a positive feel-good vibe right from the start.
I like that.
Now let's add a touch of whimsy to the mix.
Okay.
Another source suggests asking, if you could have dinner with any famous person, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
I love this one.
It's such a fun, creative way
Yeah.
to learn about someone's values and interests.
Yeah. Do they choose a historical figure they admire, a
Oh.
celebrity they find hilarious, or a brilliant scientist they find inspiring?
Exactly.
Their answer can be surprisingly insightful.
It's a window into their aspirations, their role models, and the qualities they find admirable. And it can spark some really interesting discussions. You might learn about a historical figure you knew nothing about, or you might discover a shared admiration for someone you both find inspiring. It's a great way to find common ground, even if it's through a third party.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay, last but not least,
Yeah.
we have a conversation starter that looks ahead to the future. What's something on your bucket list that you haven't done yet?
Oh, this question taps into someone's sense of adventure,
Yeah.
ambition, and their dreams for the future.
It does.
It's a great way to see if their outlook on life aligns with yours.
Yeah.
Do they have a thirst for adventure?
Right.
Are they driven by personal growth? Or are they content with a more, simple, laid-back lifestyle?
Right.
It's a subtle way to assess compatibility without directly asking those big, heavy questions.
I agree.
Plus, it's just plain fun
Yeah.
to talk about dreams and aspirations.
It is.
Especially with someone you're just getting to know.
Yeah.
It creates a sense of possibility and optimism,
Right.
which is a great foundation for any connection, romantic or otherwise.
It's about finding that spark, that shared sense of excitement for what the future holds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love it. So so far we've explored some really powerful conversation starters that can unlock deeper connections.
Right.
But there's another layer to this whole first date dynamic that we need to address.
Okay.
And it's those topics that are best avoided,
Right.
especially in those early stages.
This is where it gets interesting.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about following these arbitrary rules, right?
Right.
It's about understanding the psychology
Yeah.
behind why certain topics can create that awkwardness or tension.
Exactly.
Especially when you're still getting to know someone.
Ooh. One of the most common pieces of advice you'll hear is to steer clear of politics,
Oh, yeah.
especially in today's polarized climate.
Right.
And for good reason.
Yeah.
Diving headfirst into political debates,
Yeah.
especially on a first date, can be a recipe for disaster.
Oh, yeah. I could see that.
Yeah.
That could quickly turn a fun, flirty date into a heated argument.
Right.
But what if it comes up organically?
Yeah. right.
Should you just completely shut down the conversation?
It's all about reading the room and gauging the other person's vibe.
Okay.
If they mention it in passing,
Right.
you can offer a brief, neutral response.
Okay.
Something it's definitely a complex issue with a lot of different perspectives.
Right.
But avoid getting into those heated debates
Yeah.
or expressing strong opinions that might create tension or conflict.
Right.
Remember, the goal here is to connect, not to argue.
It's about finding common ground.
Right.
Even if it's just agreeing that the topic is complex and multifaceted.
Exactly. Now, another potentially sensitive topic is money.
Oh, yeah.
I know I've been on dates where the guy starts bragging about his salary, or even worse, complaining about his financial woes.
Right.
Not exactly a turn on.
Definitely not.
Talking about finances early on can create discomfort and make the interaction feel transactional. It's like you're evaluating each other based on your bank accounts instead of your personalities and shared interests.
It shifts the focus
Yeah.
from building a genuine connection to something that feels
Yeah,
superficial and, frankly, a bit icky.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's best to keep the focus on the experience you're sharing rather than the cost of the date or your financial status.
Oh, yeah.
If the topic comes up,
Yeah.
keep it light, and avoid making comparisons or boasting about your income.
Got it.
Remember, you're trying to build a connection.
Yeah.
Based on genuine compatibility, not financial assets.
So let's move on to a topic that can be a little bit of a minefield.
Okay.
Past relationships.
Hmm.
Is it ever okay to bring up exes on a first date?
Our sources are pretty unanimous on this one.
Okay.
It's best to steer clear of ex talk, especially in detail.
I can see why
Yeah.
it can make the other person feel like they're being compared.
Right.
Or that you're not fully present
Exactly.
in the moment.
Plus, dwelling on past relationships can signal that you haven't fully moved on,
Right.
which isn't exactly the message you want to send on a first date.
True.
Remember, the focus should be on the present
Yeah.
and the potential for a future connection with this new person.
So what if they ask
Yeah.
about your past relationships?
Hmm.
Do you just dodge the question entirely?
You can offer a brief positive response
Yeah.
without getting into the nitty-gritty.
Right.
Something like, I've learned a lot from my past relationships, and I'm excited to see what the future holds.
Right.
This subtly shifts the focus away from the past without being dismissive.
Yeah.
Or you can gently redirect the conversation to something more current,
Okay.
like your hobbies or interests.
Okay, so we've covered politics, money, and exes.
Yeah.
What other conversational pitfalls should we be aware of?
Complaining is a big one. Well, it's natural to vent to friends or family about work stress or life's little annoyances. A first date is not the time or place
Right.
to unload your negativity.
It's like bringing a rain cloud over the date.
Yeah.
No one wants to feel like they're stepping into a therapy session
Right.
when they're trying to have a fun, lighthearted time.
Exactly.
Oh,
A constant stream of negativity can dampen the mood
right.
and make you seem pessimistic or even ungrateful.
Yeah,
It's important to project a positive and upbeat energy,
I agree.
especially when you're trying to make a good first impression.
So what if something negative does come up?
Yeah.
Should you just pretend everything is sunshine and roses, even if it's not?
You don't have to sugarcoat everything,
Okay.
but you can try to frame things in a more positive light.
Okay.
For example, if you're asked about your job
Right.
and you're not exactly thrilled with it,
Yeah.
you could mention something you're learning
Okay.
or a project you're looking forward to.
Right.
The key is to balance honesty with optimism.
It's about finding the silver lining,
Yeah.
that little glimmer of positivity.
Right.
That shows you're resilient and capable of finding the good even in challenging situations.
Now let's touch on a topic that requires a bit more sensitivity,
Yeah.
heavy personal issues.
Oh.
While it's important to be authentic and eventually share your vulnerabilities with someone you're getting to know,
Yeah.
a first date is not the appropriate time to unload deep-seated trauma or personal struggles.
I think it's safe to say
Yeah,
that those are best saved for later down the line,
absolutely.
when trust and intimacy have been established.
While it's admirable to be open and vulnerable,
Yeah.
a first date is about building a foundation of connection.
Right.
It's about exploring those shared interests, values, and experiences. There will be plenty of time to delve into deeper topics later on if the relationship progresses.
It's about respecting the natural progression of intimacy
Exactly.
and building a sense of trust before you kind of dive into those more sensitive areas.
Yeah.
Now, beyond specific topics, our research uncovered some general conversational habits that can make or break a first date.
What's interesting here
Yeah.
is that a lot of it comes down to being mindful and respectful of the other person.
Yeah.
It's not just about what you say, it's about how you listen and engage.
So what are some key things to keep in mind?
Active listening is absolutely crucial.
Yeah.
It's not enough to just sit there and nod politely
Right.
while the other person is talking.
Yeah.
You need to truly listen to what they're saying,
Mm.
ask follow-up questions,
Yeah.
and show that you're genuinely interested.
I think a lot of people underestimate the power of good listening.
Yeah.
It makes the other person feel heard and valued,
Right.
which is so essential for building any kind of connection.
Exactly. And it shows that you're not just waiting for your turn to talk. You're actually engaged in the conversation
Right.
and genuinely curious about what the other person has to say.
Okay, another crucial tip
Yeah.
is to avoid interrupting. It can make the other person feel like their thoughts and opinions aren't valued,
Right.
and it can disrupt the flow of the conversation,
Yeah.
sort of creating a sense of impatience or even disrespect.
It can.
I'm definitely guilty of interrupting sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
especially when I get excited about a topic,
Sure.
but I'm working on it.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that you don't always realize you're doing until someone points it out.
We all have our conversational quirks,
Right.
but the key is to be aware of them
Right.
and make a conscious effort to improve.
Now let's talk about humor.
Okay.
Is it important to be funny on a first date?
Hmm.
I've definitely been on dates where the guy tries way too hard to be funny.
Right.
And it ends up being awkward or even offensive.
Yeah.
So how do you strike the right balance?
Humor can be a fantastic way to break the ice
Yeah.
and create a more relaxed and enjoyable atmosphere.
Right.
But it's important to use it wisely.
Okay.
First of all, be mindful of the type of humor you use. Sarcasm, especially if it's directed at the other person,
Right.
can be easily misinterpreted and come across as mean-spirited.
Yeah, it's like you're saying, my thoughts are more important than yours.
Right.
Which is obviously not a great message to send on a date.
Exactly.
It's about finding that sweet spot where you're both laughing together,
Yeah,
not at each other.
exactly. Also, avoid jokes that are overly crude or offensive.
Right.
You're still getting to know each other, so it's best to err on the side of caution and keep things light and playful.
So what kind of humor works best on a first date?
Self-deprecating humor can be a good option
Okay.
because it shows that you don't take yourself too seriously
Right.
and that you can laugh at yourself.
Yeah.
You can also use observational humor to comment on something funny or quirky about the situation you're in,
Right.
like a long wait at the restaurant or a
Yeah.
funny song playing on the radio.
Right.
It's a lighthearted way to connect over a shared experience.
Yeah, it's those little moments of shared laughter.
Yeah.
That can really solidify a connection.
Mm.
It's like you're saying, hey, we both find this funny. We're on the same wavelength.
Exactly. It creates a sense of camaraderie and shared enjoyment,
Right.
which is a great foundation for any relationship.
So to recap, good conversation on a first date is about more than just the topics you choose. It's about creating a space where both people feel heard, respected,
Yeah.
and comfortable being themselves.
Right.
It's about active listening, respectful communication, and a dash of humor sprinkled in for good measure.
If we connect this to the bigger picture,
Yeah.
it's about recognizing that every interaction, even a first date, is an opportunity to learn, grow, and expand our understanding
Right.
of ourselves and the world around us.
Now, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive,
Yeah.
I want to circle back to those conversation starters
Okay.
we talked about earlier. We covered a lot of ground,
We did.
but I'm curious to hear from you, dear listener. What unique conversation starter would you add to this list based on your own interests and what
Yeah.
you find engaging?
What sparks genuine connection for you?
Yeah.
What kind of questions make you feel seen and understood? Think about it as we move into the final part of our deep dive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really fascinating how a single question can, unlock a flood of insights
Right.
and create a sense of connection.
Yeah.
Choosing your own personalized conversation starters is a great way to showcase your authentic self right from the start.
It's like you're saying, this is what I find interesting.
Yeah,
This is what matters to me.
exactly.
And by putting that out there,
Right.
you're more likely to attract people who share those same values and interests.
Absolutely. And remember, this isn't just about first dates.
Right.
These tips and strategies can apply to any situation where you're meeting someone new,
Yeah.
whether it's a networking event, a party,
Right.
or even just striking up a conversation with someone in line at the coffee shop.
That's true.
Good conversation is a skill that can benefit you in all areas of life.
It can.
It's about building connections, fostering understanding, and creating a more enjoyable and engaging social experience.
Yeah.
And the more you practice, the more confident and natural you'll become.
It's like any muscle.
Yeah.
The more you use it, the stronger it gets.
Exactly. And one of the most important things to remember is that good conversation is a two-way street.
That's true.
It's not just about asking the right questions. It's about truly listening to the answers, observing nonverbal cues, and responding in a way that shows you're engaged and interested.
Yeah, it's about being present in the moment,
Right.
putting away your phone, and really focusing on the person in front of you.
Absolutely.
It's amazing how much you can learn about someone
Yeah.
when you truly listen.
And don't be afraid to let your own personality shine through.
Right.
Authenticity is magnetic.
It is.
People are drawn to those who are comfortable in their own skin, who are genuine and who aren't afraid to be themselves.
So true.
Yeah.
The more you try to be someone you're not,
Right.
the more awkward and uncomfortable the conversation will feel.
Exactly.
Just relax, be yourself, and let the conversation flow naturally.
What's truly fascinating is that each conversation is a unique opportunity to learn, grow, and expand your
I
horizons.
love that.
You never know what hidden gems you might uncover,
Right.
what unexpected connections you might forge,
Yeah.
or what inspiring insights you might gain.
It's like embarking on an adventure.
Yeah,
Every conversation is a chance to discover something new,
it is.
whether it's about the other person, the world around us, or even ourselves.
So as you head out into the world, armed with your newfound conversational prowess,
Right.
remember to approach each interaction with curiosity, kindness, and a genuine desire to connect.
And don't be afraid to be yourself.
Hmm.
Let your personality shine through,
Yeah.
and I have a feeling you'll be amazed by the connections you make.
Me too.
Happy chatting.
Yes, happy chatting.